Hey guys, a quick word on raw food. It's not like the people who are raw long term are doing it just to be raw, just to prove a point. You develop food intolerances the longer you're clean. So if you are born drinking dairy from cow milk, you're gonna build up a tolerance to it. In the same way an alcoholic builds up a tolerance to booze. They can drink a lot more booze than someone who doesn't drink booze. So same goes for someone who drinks dairy. They can drink a lot more dairy than someone who doesn't drink any dairy. People who have lactose intolerances only because they haven't built up a tolerance. But if you have a lactose intolerance, just like if you have a gluten intolerance, you can build up a tolerance, just like an alcoholic builds up a tolerance. So the same goes for cooked food. If you don't eat any cooked food for a long period of time, and then you try to eat it, there's gonna be consequences. You're gonna feel like crap. And the people who eat cooked food all the time, or who haven't detoxed as much, aren't gonna be able to notice. So they're not gonna be able to relate as much as when you're saying, hey guys, I can't go back to eat cooked food, it makes me feel like crap. People who eat cooked food all the time, they can't relate, they don't really understand because they haven't actually experienced that before. And if they have, it's maybe not to a larger degree as someone who's been raw for a long time. So no one really talks about cooked food intolerances. A lot of people talk about alcohol intolerance, gluten intolerance, dairy intolerance. And these things exist, these things are real. But they only affect people who are intolerant to them. But just like anything, you can build up a tolerance to it. So with cooked food, same thing. You know, you're born on just breast milk, and then you're fed like some either fruit or some cooked food right at birth. Like we're spoon fed. We're basically force fed cooked food from birth. You see tons of babies spitting out the food, blah blah blah, the food all over their face, all over their body, all over their plate, all over the place, all over the napkin. The parents just keep force feeding. Eat the food, eat the drug. Even if you don't like it, eat it. That was a big theme in our household at dinner time. Even if you don't like the food, eat it. And what our parents are unconsciously doing is getting us to build up a tolerance to these things that we naturally wouldn't want, we wouldn't be able to handle. So growing up, a lot of kids have a lot of problems. Weight gain of course being a huge one. A lot of kids obese, but kids grow up with acne, kids grow up with severe mood issues, kids grow up bipolar, kids grow up with learning disabilities, attention deficit, whatever, all sorts of things. And the parents don't think that what you're putting in your body is important. And yet you go to the doctor and the doctor's like, here, take this pill, put this in your body. And the parents are like, oh yeah, great idea, take this pill, put it in your body. But the food you're eating that you're putting in your body isn't doing anything. So what we put in our body has a direct effect on how we experience our world, our reality. And that's why people take drugs. They take these drugs to experience a better reality, temporarily of course. And they come down, they feel like crap, they take the drug again to get back up. And yet they don't think that diet has anything to do with how we experience our reality. It does, it really does. So the people who are raw long term, not necessarily doing it just to be raw, we do it because we have to be. We can't go back. We can't go back to the heartburn. We can't go back to the indigestion. We can't go back to the feeling like crap. We can't go back to lower moods. We can't go back to lower standards. When your standards are this high, you can't go back. It's a bit like that movie Overboard with forget her name, but really good movie, Overboard. This lady's really rich and lives a high standard life, and then she falls overboard and forgets what's going on, and some guy takes her into his petty low-income house and tries to convince her that she's always been that way. She's always been super low standard, and it just doesn't feel right to her. Some part of her knows that she has higher standards, and then when she remembers that she, you know, always used to have these super high standards, she remembers that she came from a very rich household, then it all makes sense to her. So that's like when you rediscover raw food, or when you discover raw food for the first time. You're like, oh yeah, this is how it's supposed to be. This is what life is supposed to be like. You remember, it clicks. You came from you came from the super high standard living, guys. And then from birth, you know, we've just been force-fed crap. You know, we build up these tolerances. So give raw a chance. Just like you stop eating dairy and gluten, you feel a lot better. Same goes with cooked food. Just give yourself a few weeks, a few months, a few years to get really clean. And after all that time, if you don't feel like sticking around, you can go back to eating what you want. But once you clean it out of your system, you can't go back. You really can't go back. Eat from the vine, feel divine, live in line with nature's design. Peace.